Lara Rogers, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me. Super excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, this is going to be a good conversation. First off, I'd love to just start by having you introduce yourself. Obviously, coach for the Under Armour Mission Run team, but give us a little background into who you are.
Yeah, so Lara Rogers, I coach our women's team with Under Armour Baltimore Distance. Been doing it since summer of 2022, so about 2 years now. And yeah, it's a new team, but it's been a lot of fun building it from the ground up.
Yeah, that is really cool. What did you do before coaching at Under Armour?
So I was at the University of Cincinnati for 8 years, coaching at the collegiate level. And prior to that, I was at a Division II school, Shippensburg, University of Pennsylvania. So that's where I started my coaching career there as a volunteer coach and then like a grad assistant. So I've been in coaching now since 2012. So about 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you ran before that?
I did. I ran for the University of Nebraska for 4 years in my undergrad, and then used my last year of eligibility in the track season for Shippensburg University back home from Pennsylvania. So naturally, it was the right move at the time. But yeah, ran collegiately for 4.5 years.
Okay, very cool. I didn't know you were a Pennsylvania native also. That's where I'm from.
Oh, yeah? Where?
Yeah. Just outside of Philadelphia, about 40
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah.
I went to North Penn High School.
No, okay. Yeah. So Big Spring High School, central Pennsylvania, more rural.
Okay.
Not quite Philly area, but yeah, smack dab central PA.
Very cool. Okay. I was wondering how you got to Shippensburg. So this answers a lot of questions.
Yeah, 10 minutes down the road, Pennsylvania high school state meet, everything's there. So I was like, I have to go back, and it launched me into my coaching career. So it was a blessing to be able to go there for grad school.
Yeah, that's really neat. And, a lot of this podcast, we're going to dive into what you're doing right now with the Under Armour Mission Run team. But first, before we do that, just the question that we usually start off with is, and we're actually going to switch it up a little bit for you this time since you're coaching, but what's the why behind why you coach these days?
Yeah, I mean, so when I started coaching at Shippensburg, I realized how much I loved it. I didn't know at the time I wanted to be a coach, but just did it to finish my grad degree. And I just fell in love with being able to work with athletes that are pursuing their goals and dreams. It's really rewarding to be able to be a part of that and to help them kind of seek the best in themselves. And, through the good, through the bad, like you're there able to guide them and help. And so I think the biggest part for me is just the reward that you get from seeing athletes achieve, the best out of themselves or get the best out of themselves. And that's why I do it. And it's something I don't think I'll ever want to stop doing, but yeah, that's why I'm still in it.
I love it. Yeah. Has that role, so the mindset stays the same, but does the role take on like a different meaning now coaching for an elite team versus the collegiate side of things?
I don't think that like the meaning of it changes. I think like obviously the talent level and I guess the athletes you're working with obviously are a lot different. But no, like the passion and like the actual coaching aspect of things doesn't change. Smaller group too, and a little more individual attention, which is really nice for the athletes and for me as well.
Yeah, that is really neat. So you started it about 2 years ago, this women's team. Can you kind of give us an overview of like what the early days looked like?
Yeah.
For this team?
So when this position came open, actually Corey Leslie, our men's coach, was one who had reached out to me, and I was coaching at the University of Cincinnati, and he's like, "Hey, we're looking to build the women's portion of this team, and we're looking for a coach." And so he was really kind of spearheaded the search for a women's coach, and started it up in the summer with the women. And we started with just 2 athletes at the time, so really small, but the idea was to grow it. And we added a 3rd athlete 6 months later, and now we're at 5 athletes on the women's side, and still growing the group and still new. But yeah, the first 6 months was the 2 athletes. We moved to Baltimore in August of 2022, and just got to work with those 2. So it was Ellie Leather and Susan Ajori. And then Lauren moved in February 2023 with us. And then this past summer, we added a couple more. And so, yeah, it's grown a lot, and it's been a lot of fun in the first 2 years.
Yeah, it's really great. Yeah. So now you're up to 5. So who are the 5 women now?
Yeah, so we've got Ellie Leather, Lydia Oliveri, Abby Goldstein, Lauren Ryan, and then Courtney Barnes, kind of like one of our remote athletes that is a steeplechaser, but also a trail athlete.
Very cool. That's a fun segue.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Very cool. No, that's great. And so as far as the team goes now, do you feel like um, you've been with 2 of them for 2 years now, and then Lauren for about a year and a half or so? Do you feel like you guys are really starting to hit your stride these days now that you've had them for a couple of years?
Oh yeah, I think, with any athlete you work with, it takes a little bit of time, develop trust, develop, that relationship and what works with them. I luckily had Ellie at the University of Cincinnati with me for a couple of years, so that was a unique situation to be able to, essentially join this team at the same time as her. So I've been working with her for about 5 years now. But Lauren Ryan, just a year and a half now. Yeah, it's just taken some time to get to get that relationship going and make sure that we're on the same page in terms of what works for her and how we jive. And I feel like now that we're year and a half in, it's starting to show kind of all the work that she's put in and the trust that she's put in, Under Armour and the brand and me and the team to be able to do this. But yeah.
Yeah, and just like the men's team, we talked to Corey a few months back now, a couple weeks back. Obviously, they've seen a lot of progression in the last handful of years with the men, and I feel like every single weekend right now, especially in the outdoor season, they're running PBs still, and so it's been really fun to follow. And your team's no different. So can you kind of talk through this last season, indoor, outdoor, for the women, and just kind of the progression that the women's side's making?
Yeah, of course. I think we've always kind of prided ourselves on being underdogs. And, I feel like we kind of got a breakthrough in some sorts of way this indoor season starting in January. So, yeah, the fall was mostly a training block. The team was put in a lot of hard work, and then we kind of got to see the fruits of our labor starting this, January. And Ellie kind of kicked us off with a massive 3K PB, running 8:54 indoor. And then she kind of launched the team into just to seem like, race after race where we were really kind of putting things together. And I think a lot of that was just, over time, consistency and being able to, trust in each other. And so we put together pretty much everybody put together a PB or a PR indoor. Lauren Ryan set national record for Australia in the 5K. And then, it launched us into our outdoor season where we haven't raced a whole lot yet. But so far things have been pretty good. And Lauren Ryan specifically, Australia having their season be a little bit earlier. She's already kind of launched herself into, an Olympic year and an Olympic team. And so, yeah, things are going well. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's, just hard work over a long period of time and consistency that's kind of leading to those breakthroughs that everybody's seeing. But behind the scenes, it was just over time kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. So Lauren punched her ticket already. Super exciting. Does that take like some pressure off, or do you feel like now it's just calling everybody up to a higher stage?
Yeah, I think for her specifically, I know that she feels a lot of weight off her shoulders because that's obviously everybody's goal in the team. But for her, she has her trials much earlier, and being able to know, hey, I've got the ticket in the 10,000 already. Yeah, it helps a lot. And the team is all behind her and super pumped. And I think it raises the level of every athlete. They all want that. And so having somebody on the team that's already done that kind of gives them that extra, little bit of like, hey, can we do that too this summer? And so, yeah, and for Lauren specifically, she's now trying to get the 5,000 Olympic standard to hopefully get that selection as well.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. So I would love to just dive in for a little bit here around obviously the major difference between coaching in college and the professional side of things is your fall does not have cross country. So you just have a handful of months, let's call it 3-4 months of just really putting in the work, like you mentioned earlier, just like day in and day out. No real races on the calendar, unless you maybe want to jump into a fun road 5K. But other than that, it's just really focused on racing. What does your fall look like for the women?
Yeah, so it's very, very heavy, just like what we call, base work. So they usually all come and they're in town post track season around August, September. So we're doing a lot of, tempo threshold work, higher volume. We do hop into some local road races. This past fall, we did our Baltimore Run Fest series with Under Armour is a big thing. We had Lauren in the 10K, the rest of them in the 5K, just kind of a fitness check in October. And then Sound Cross. So we did the Sound Running Cross meet in November. So yeah, a lot of it's really just threshold based, tempo based, higher volume. And honestly, yeah, we touch on some speed stuff. We're doing a lot of stuff in the weight room as well. Just making sure that we're ultimately strong for, the track season when we sharpen up. So we hit really 2 peaks a year, a small peak in indoor, but obviously our biggest one in the summer with the track season. And the fall is a good time for us to recoup, early fall, and then make sure we get in a solid block of strength work all the way from basically September through January.
Yeah, and you've made mention of this too, but your team has stayed very consistent, throughout a lot of, the last 2 years since you've taken over the program. What do you, is there, yeah, I guess, what do you attribute that to?
I mean, a lot of staying healthy is the biggest thing. And I think, our woman, knock on some wood here, has stayed healthy. And I attribute a lot of that to just, them taking care of themselves, one thing. But two, we have our strength coach, Coach Carrie Lane, has been phenomenal, working with them in the weight room and, the little things and on the performance side with nutrition, that kind of thing. She's been awesome. And I think she's been a very, very crucial part to them staying healthy. And then on top of that, we want to make sure that we're smart with our training and we're recovering. And, we have athletes on the lever, and Ellie Leather specifically uses that every week for, doubles, for recovery runs, make sure that we're taking a little bit of weight off, but we're still getting in the volume. And I think that's also been super crucial for her in staying healthy. And she is one of the athletes that's taken some of the biggest steps this year. And I attribute that a lot to being able to train and stay healthy. And that consistency piece is key. But you only get that if you can stay healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, consistency is key. Do your girls, I don't want to, like, maybe they are super women. Do they experience any niggles at all throughout the season, or are they, just perfect health specimens that never break down?
No, they definitely do. I think every athlete's going to experience some sort of niggle at some point during the year. Yeah, every single one of them had, little things pop up, but luckily we've not had anything that's kept us out for a while. So again, I'm gonna knock on some wood. But you have the little things like tight calves or whatever it might be, where we just have to be mindful for a few days. And again, any athlete, just making sure that communication piece is there so that we can adjust as we need. And they're also really good about, like, they've been in the sport for a while and knowing their bodies. So, hey, like, this feels a little tighter than normal. Like, maybe we should cross train today or get on the lever or something, to make sure that they, are being able to consistently train. So they're really good with communication too.
Yeah, no, that's good. You already brought up Ellie. Can you kind of walk us through her progression over the last couple of years? Like, what did she come in running? What is she running now?
Yeah. So I guess I could even go back to Cincinnati. I had her join us back in 2019. She was a transfer out of Fresno State at the time. She was a 428 1500 meter runner, 209 800 meter runner. And then by the end of her time in Cincinnati, she had finished third in the indoor mile at Division I NCAAs, and she ran 434 at the time in the mile. And basically this year so far, she ran 4:25 in the mile, and she ran 4:07 in the 1500. And hopefully tonight we'll knock that down even a little further. So she's progressed 21 seconds so far in the 15, in almost 10 seconds in the mile.
Yeah, and is that since 2019 then? So 5
Yes,
years or so?
correct. Uh-huh.
That's pretty
Yes.
impressive.
Yeah. And really a lot of that just happened in the last year. She had a period of time, and then, you leave college and you go to the pro level. It's not exactly all butterflies for every athlete. It's going to
Mhm,
be like, you're a small fish again. And
mhm,
she kind of experienced that her first year with the team, where it was like thrown back into the world of like, holy smokes, and I think she wanted to be at the level of a lot of the elite athletes. And we kind of got a little bit banged up, a little more than we wanted. And we kind of had to reset and be like, hey, this is, why do we do this? What's the
mhm.
importance of this? And obviously getting her back to like full health again was important. And here we are a year later, and she's seeing a lot of breakthroughs.
Yeah, and would you just chalk that up to consistency at this point, or have there been, some obviously it takes time and but crucial workouts that she's been hitting like over time to progress to this
No,
point?
I would say it's just consistent work.
Mm,
We've done nothing more, there's no one workout I say or long run or anything like that that causes the breakthrough. She's
yep.
just put in really solid work for the last year or so. And I think that's what's attributing to what she's able to do right now.
Well, and you mentioned to me earlier she was a lower mileage athlete and now has increased that mileage. Like, I don't know if you're able to share with us the details behind that, but like, what does low mileage mean for a 1500-meter runner?
So when she joined me, we were doing like 35 miles a week, pretty low. And she's still like, she maxes out right now around 55.
Okay.
So for an elite 1500-meter runner, on the lower side, but she cross trains a lot. And she gets on the lever. And I feel like if you do the math, or at least the math that I use,
Mhm,
she's probably getting in somewhere in that like 75-mile type volume, just not physically running it, all the time.
mm.
And um, again, what works for one athlete doesn't always work for another. And I've had, I have another 1500-meter athlete on my team that does 65, 70, and so every athlete's different. But for her, this has worked and it's kept her healthy. So we're sticking with it.
Absolutely. And so, and out of the 55 miles, how many roughly are on lever?
I would say about like 15 to 20%, depending on
Okay.
the week. So she's typically getting in like 10 miles or so on it.
Okay.
And that's been as she comes off the lever feeling recovered and really ready for, usually we use it the day before the workout or doubles. And she comes off feeling refreshed and ready to go to hit the hard days hard.
Yeah, I was going to ask you when you use it because again, we hear different things, right? Either the day after a workout to get the legs fresh again, or the day before a workout. Um, has she been using it the day before the workout for a while now, or is
She
that
has
something newer?
pretty much regularly, for like the last year. She's been utilizing it on her like recovery day before the workout. And then for doubles, we usually do those like after the workout. So we work out in the morning, doubles come at night. So she'll actually get on it at night, and kind of recover from the workout. So we use it before and after. But yeah, it's usually the day before and then that double as well.
Okay. No, that's a great way to use it for sure. And I feel like from a freshness standpoint, it all makes sense. Have you noticed anything specifically in her workouts that have been any different then? Like as
Yeah, I
far
feel
as
like she's
fatigue
coming
levels?
in to workouts like, ready to go. Not that she wasn't before, but the workouts have been really good. And again, that consistency piece I've talked about, I feel like she's coming into every workout and they've just been very solid. And over time, when you have really good workout after workout, that's what attributes to those breakthroughs. And again, like being able to come in recovered and rested and, a little less load in the legs, like attributes to a better workout and obviously to the consistency piece that we're looking for.
Yeah, no, that's great. So you got a couple 1500-meter girls, you have a couple 5K girls. Lauren has also had a really remarkable last, 12 months or so. I think I saw a 1509 down to a 1457.
Mhm.
So essentially another 11, 12 seconds off of a really fast time already. Are you kind of contributing the same type of consistency to that as well?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, she is put in a lot of good work. Again, that consistency piece. Haven't done anything, raising volume or any breakthrough workouts, that kind of thing. It's just been staying healthy and, entering an Olympic year, she's zoned in and, I think she also is now comfortable in the situation and with her teammates and everything. Like, obviously, new group, like you come in and it takes time to adjust. And I think for her, like, she's finally like comfortable and she's in an environment where she's, ready to go. And so I would say the consistency piece and just being like comfortable now with the situation she's in.
Yeah, and she punched her ticket, so obviously it's paying off. Punched her
She
ticket to
did.
Paris.
She
No,
did.
that's awesome. And not yeah. So anyway, we've been talking about consistency, and that's the key. But I would love to just understand, like, from you, elite level coach, what are your like go to 2, 3, 5K workouts for like any athlete, whether they're 18 years old or 65 years old? Like, what is some of your go to 5K workouts? It's just build strength and obviously kind of set you up for that consistency mindset.
Yeah, I think a big staple for any 5K runner is doing stuff at race pace. Specifically, like we do a lot of like 6 to 8 by 1,000 by K, and we don't do them all 5K pace. We usually start at our 10K pace and work down to our 5K pace off 90 seconds recovery. And so, for Lauren, like she's starting these at 306, 307 pace per K, and she's working down to 257, 258, and she's
Mhm.
doing 8 of them off 90 seconds. That's a, very big staple that we do. And then even though it's not like, I think the most common for everybody, like threshold workouts and like a tempo workout for her. Like she's going to do 5 miles at 5:15 to 5:20 pace. And then she's going to finish with a fast mile, kind of at close to 5K pace. So she'll run like 450 or so, 448. That's a staple for us as well. And we at least do one threshold with her every 10 to 14 days, even in the peak of our season. So while those are regular, like every week during the fall, as we get into season, they're every 10 to 14 days. But I do think that they're a huge part of being able to extend and prolong your season and keep that strength piece that sometimes we forget to keep in as we're kind of sharpening up for the season. So that's another one. And then one of our, like, what I call gear changing workouts that we do. Usually it's, 10 days out from like a peak race. And as we get into the peak of our season, we're usually doing this at least once a week, is something like broken 2Ks or broken miles, where we'll basically do like, for like a broken 2K, we're going to go 1600 at our 10K pace and then 400 quick. So like
Mhm.
65, 66. And that'll be like 60 seconds recovery after running, 505, going into a 65-second 400 and then taking a more extended break, and extended being about 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
So we got the Ks, we
Yeah.
got the threshold, and then we got like a gear changing workout.
Are you doing just one broken 2K?
Oh, good question. Yeah. No, we're usually doing about 6 to 8K of work. So about
Okay.
3 to 4 sets of that.
3 to 4 sets of that. No, that's good. And then are these all on the track, or do you look to get out on some greenway or?
Yeah. So we do the gear changing workouts and the Ks typically on the track, but we're always doing our threshold or tempo, either in the park or, yeah, on a greenway or bike trail.
Nice. Yeah, sounds like Baltimore might be the new Boulder. I mean, everyone's running fast in Baltimore.
Hey, it is. I know not everybody thinks of Baltimore as a running mecca, but you come here, you make the most of the environment you have, and like we have trails, we have bike trails, we have the track, we have everything we need.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a good setup for sure. No, that's really good. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing all that. Are you on a 9-day schedule as well as like Corey is,
Um,
or?
no. So
Okay.
we do 10 in the fall. So the difference from the 9 is we add a rest day in essentially. But we do have those 2 days easy workout, 2 days easy workout, 2 days easy long run. And then we add the rest day in as the 10th day. But we change over to a 7 in the track season. And a lot of time, and the reason I do that is specifically because we start racing, and a lot of times it gets really tough with a 10-day to like line things up with races. So we try to stay on the 10 as long as we aren't racing. And then when we get into the thick of it, we move to 7. So we moved to 7. It was end of January, basically February. And we'll stick with that until the track season's over. And then we'll move back to 10.
Okay. So 10-day starts August, September timeframe
Yep.
through January. And then your 7-day breakdown, is that a similar like 2 days easy, 1-day workout, or?
Similar. So we'll typically work out on like a Tuesday. Monday's always a recovery day. And then basically Wednesday, Thursday, easy. Friday workout. The difference is we fit that long run in after the race. So like if we're racing on a Saturday, we would do it on Sunday. If we're not racing, we'll do it on Saturday and then use Sunday, Monday as recovery. So basically that second workout on Friday is either a race, and then we kind of add the long run in. So.
Well, perfect segue to, it's Friday when we're recording and you're racing tonight. So can you give us some, I don't know, some preview of what to see tonight? Obviously we're going to launch this after the races happen, but
yeah, hopefully good results. The preview goes well. Yeah, so we've got 3 athletes running the 1500. So Abby Goldstein, Ellie Leather, and Lauren actually tuning up with the 1500. So I think, we're ready to run some PRs. Lauren, for sure. She hasn't run a 1500 in a year. And we've seen a lot of big jumps. So I'm expecting that her 412 will definitely go down. We're looking to run in the 4.0 range. And then same with Ellie, she's run 407, but I think she's pretty close to getting that Olympic standard, somewhere in that range. We're going to give it a whirl tonight and see how close we can get. And then Abby Goldstein PRs 410. I think we're ready to run around the same range here as Lauren, somewhere in that 407, 406 range. And then we do have a steeplechaser as well, Lydia. And she's hoping to get the Olympic trial standard. Okay. And, that's the goal for her tonight. So we'll see. They're ready. We've been training in Flagstaff for the last 5 weeks. So they just came down from there yesterday. And they are ready to go, it seems. So excited for it.
And you made your predictions. This is recorded. So
here we are. Yeah. Follow up with the results.
Well, and I don't think we mentioned it. So tonight's the LA Grand Prix. And so you're in LA right now with the team.
Correct. Yeah. So it's the USATF Distance Classic, part of the LA Grand Prix tonight. Mm. And then like the LA Grand Prix portion is tomorrow. Mm. And that would be like the A sections of a lot of the races.
Okay. Very good. Definitely be following along. It's exciting. Can you give us a little preview into what the rest of the season holds for the ladies?
Of course. Yes. So all going back to Baltimore after this, Lauren will be heading off to Prefontaine to run the Diamond League. The goal there to get the Olympic standard in the 5K. And then, we're getting into kind of trial season for most of our athletes. So a couple tune-ups. We'll have some at probably the Adrian Martinez Classic and then the Atlanta HBCU Pro Classic early June. And then we're going to head off to trials. So U.S. Olympic trials end of June, UK trials for Ellie end of June as well. And then July will be our European circuit. So a couple of the athletes will head over to Europe, do a couple races there. And Lauren will do 1 or 2 and then head to Paris.
All right. Yeah. Big couple months ahead. It's exciting.
Yeah, really excited.
It is really exciting. Any other updates as far as like Under Armour goes, Mission Run organization? Anything we can be following along with there?
I mean, we're building. I hope we're not underdogs anymore.
Hmm.
No, it's been great to be, with a brand that's supported our vision, Corey and I's vision, and being able to, support the athletes. And I think that we're lucky in that we have everything we need on our campus in Baltimore. Um, all the resources from gym, massage, support from the brand. And I think you'll be seeing a lot more exciting things from Mission Run Baltimore and Under Armour.
Absolutely. No, like I said, we're excited to follow along. I feel like outdoor racing is just getting underway, for the elite side of things. So a lot of racing to go.
Yep, just the start. Just the
Just
start. Here we are in May.
here we are. Well, Lara, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Brad. Really appreciate it.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in learning more about incorporating the lever system into your training, follow us on Instagram @Lever Movement, or even follow me on Strava to learn how I incorporate lever into my training for ultras. Until next time, keep running.